All right, let's kick this off. Welcome. Welcome. I am so honored to have you here. My goodness. We are, wow, going to jump right on in. So, I am Dr. Wendy Schofer, and I am the pediatrician specializing in emotional health for families. And emotional health, that includes behavioral health, habits. Yes, that includes eating. And I am the founder of Family in Focus and also a parent having quite a week. It is one of those weeks for parents right now. I want to welcome you. This space is for you. And as I have my little reminder signs all over the place, in fact, there's another one right over here. All feelings are welcome. And so I just want to put that out there from the very beginning. All feelings are welcome here. You can participate in the chat if you'd like. There is absolutely no pressure. I'm just opening up the space so that we can create a little bit of a conversation in order to be able to just take a few moments to connect parent to parent. And the other thing is that, just know that your thoughts help others feel less alone. I'm going to be leading with a lot of stories today because that's another way that we can see ourselves in stories, see others and ourselves, how, we're traveling on similar, maybe not the same road, but similar paths. And then again, just in a spirit of feeling not so alone all the time. What we're really going to be getting into today is eating disorder prevention. And I want to really start off really quickly with just touching on why this webinar matters. We are having a hard time as parents right now, and our kids are struggling too. There is so much in our environment about body focus, weight focus, focus on food, the value of food, what's healthy, what's unhealthy, looking at growth curves, trying to understand messages about weight, what that means for each and every one of us and our families. We're all struggling. And so today is about really how do we parent with fewer power struggles, with less fear, and with way more connection. When we think about preventing eating disorders, I think that the question often comes up as we're hearing that there's an increase in the risk and the rate of eating disorders while we're having all of these weight focused conversations, and we are spending so much of our lives online in comparison and looking so much at the physical and comparing body to body. And it's something where there's a lot of stress about emotional eating, wondering what that means, and also control. What do we have control over with eating habits? I want to slow it all down and really get to the heart of what prevention really means. I'm going to give you a hint. It's not about controlling, it's not about that fear. And that approach to prevention that we've been taking all this time about looking at what we desperately don't want, but we just keep on looking at it. We're going to shift to what it is that we really do want to build. What do we want more of? So if you take nothing else away from today, I'm going to invite you to even just write this down. Real prevention isn't focusing on what it is that we're trying to avoid. It's about focusing on what we want to build. Real prevention is not focusing on what we want to avoid. It's not about restricting. It's not about having less of. It's what we want more of. All right. So let's kind of start back a little bit. So it starts with a snack. Let me tell you a story. Oftentimes the stories start with snacks or meltdowns or concern about kids gaining weight or hiding food. And I know you're doing your best. We all are. Maybe you're doing what it is that you've been told about portion control, making healthy food swaps, trying to set limits, but it doesn't feel like it's working. So, a number of years ago, I met Emily and her mom, and they were coming into the general pediatrics clinic. So, by the way, this is where I should put in, well, I'm a physician, I'm a pediatrician. I am not your physician, and this is not medical advice. So please maintain that relationship with your physician and tell them that I said hi. This is all for educational purposes only, no medical advice. Okay, back to my story. So, with Emily, she was coming in for her 6-year well visit and was the first time that I was meeting her. She had been seen by my partners before, so I had a nice bit of practice, or excuse me, growth history with her. I'd seen her charts, and like every good pediatrician, I looked at her vitals and I also looked at her growth charts to kind of know, okay, where is she before I go in and meet her? What are the numbers? And I saw that she had been consistently growing at over the 85th percentile for her weight and her body mass index, which means that if we're going to kind of, when we're categorizing, when we're diagnosing, we would say she falls into that overweight diagnosis or category. Okay, well, taking a note of that, let me go in and talk to them. And I asked her mom, Stacy, about Emily's eating habits. I asked Emily what she liked to eat, and she had a good variety. She was very active, loved playing outside, was very creative, was doing fabulously in first grade. She was academically spot on. She was socially just exactly where she needed to be. She was sleeping well, getting along with siblings, like all the things. There were no holes to poke in any of this. And so at the end of the visit, I said, 2 thumbs up. She's doing great. I will see you both back next year. And that was when Stacy leaned into me and she said, when are you going to talk to me about her weight? And I said, what's the question about her weight? And Stacy said, every single year, every single time I bring her in, whether it's a well visit or a sick visit, I always hear about how she's overweight. I always hear how I need to change what it is we're doing, changing portions, getting her to be more active. And no matter what it is that I'm doing, she's continuing to grow. She's continuing to grow at over that overweight threshold. I'm failing. And I'm really, really worried because I have struggled with my weight all my life. And I don't want to put that on her. I'm failing her. I'm failing these plans. I'm failing as a mom. Every time I share that story, it takes me back to that moment where all of a sudden it just hit me that Emily was thriving. She was doing great. And yet her mom thought that she was failing as a mom, that she was failing her daughter. And she kept on hearing all of these messages about how she just had to keep on changing things, the same messages that she had been hearing since she had been growing up. And so that's really something that we're falling into, these lies that we're told and sold over and over again. You know, we've been told if you just control the food, if you keep an eye on it, manage it, you can control the outcome. And so we get food diaries, we get guidance on portion sizes, all sorts of expert tips. My goodness, go on social media and everybody's an expert and they're going to tell you exactly what they think and what you should be doing differently. We tell kids that they should listen to their body while we're also controlling their plates. And really, there's a hidden message there that, well, you can listen to your body, but it's not really kind of trustworthy. And we're worried as parents about disordered eating, about weight, about going down the same road that we have traveled with dieting and weight and over exercising and body image and bullying and stigma. We want to help so desperately. We want to help our kids so desperately. And yet we hand down our fears kind of dressed up as health guidance. And I say we as a double dose that I have, given my kids as a mom, as well as a physician. Diet culture, shame, confusion, all of this just becomes the legacy that we are passing on to our kids. But the truth is that we're just using the wrong tools because no one's really focused on what it is that has really been going on. And I think that that's really until now. Things are really starting to change. And so what's really going on is what's happening behind the scenes. So let's be really clear, okay? Really clear. We are all emotional eaters. We talk a lot of trash about emotional eating, like I'm concerned about my child emotionally eating. I need to change my own emotional eating. We always make it in the negative, that there's something that needs to change. But if you take a page out of cognitive behavioral therapy, this is not practicing therapy, this is just looking at cognitive behavioral connections. What's going on with the way that our brains work? Our thoughts drive our emotions, and our emotions drive our behavior. Emotions drive behavior. So the behaviors that we want, when we feel good, we tend to do things that feel good, things that are positive and productive, and things that we're like, woo, giving high fives about it. And also, emotions drive the behaviors that we don't want. So maybe the things that we're turning to for comfort or distraction, to numb, or the things we're trying to push away, it's all because of emotions. And so we are all emotional eaters. Emotional eating, whether it's distracted or boredom that's driving that eating, or eating not eating from being in control, so like feeling like you're out of control with your eating, it's not that that's a problem to fix. It's something to first understand. It's like a message to understand, what is my body telling me? What is that emotion that's going on under the surface? Food is often the way that kids and adults absolutely self-soothe. It's the way that we distract or connect or cope. And so when we focus only on what we're eating, we miss why. And there's actually a double dose of this, especially for folks, for neurodiverse kids. Okay, for neurodiverse kids, emotional regulation might be harder, and food can be an easier tool to turn to when there's boredom or distraction, or when you're just not feeling so good, just to be able to feel a little bit better. So just understanding, okay, that makes sense. Our job isn't to shut down emotional eating, but to listen to the emotions, to listen to the emotions that are underneath it, and to really understand them. Now, there is a very common misconception. And that is, I don't have time for this. And I get it. I totally get it. You're exhausted. Parents tell me all the time, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, I don't have the training to deal with emotions. Every single time I talk to physicians, when I talk to doctors about the role of emotions and emotional health in holistic health, so the whole body, physical health and relationships, social, everything, there's always someone in the back who puts up their hand and says, this sounds really awesome, and yet I don't have time for this. Of course you don't. You haven't had the time to be able to learn or to have this modeled for you. It feels uncomfortable to talk about emotions because it's new. Everything that's new to us is uncomfortable. And there's all sorts of versions of uncomfortable with emotions, of course. Of course. But that's exactly why it's time. If we don't deal with emotions, we hand them down unintentionally, but inevitably. Let me be clear, you do not have to be a therapist. You will not be a therapist. You just get to be human. And to be able to explore a little bit more, to understand more of what's going on inside of completely normal humans. We are all on that emotional roller coaster. You don't have to do it perfectly. And you just need a starting point, a little bit of help. And that's what we're here for. So we're going to dive right in for some skills today. So 3 skills to practice. And yes, this is completely relevant to looking at all all eating habits, all eating habits. You may find other places that this is really helpful for you to use to be able to understand a little bit more about the behaviors that are in your home. Okay, so let's talk about 3 of them. Number 1, pause and just breathe. Take a breath in and a little bit of a longer one out. Breathing. You're just interrupting the cycle. We were just talking about one thing and we just took a breath and a pause and interrupted that cycle. And we get to choose if we continue or if we're going to switch gears. We're also slowing down our nervous system by pausing and taking a breath or 2 or 4. A pause buys time and perspective. And this is why the Family in Focus newsletter is called the exhale. I can never say it without doing it. The exhale. It's the pause to breathe, to set our own nervous system first. It is the most important step of all of them. Pause and take a breath. And it's also the step that's been practiced the least. We are in this society where, I could tell you, I was just thinking earlier this morning about so much of my success, I think, is on the back of how I just keep going. That it's something where it's about production and nonstop. And it's actually baloney. I cannot believe how much I've been able to do, even though I wasn't taking the breaths. I wasn't pacing and slowing down and connecting. We think it's the secret to our success to keep on going, like the gerbil and the hamster and the gerbil wheel, whichever one it is. Okay. Slowing down, pausing, and enjoy the breath. Now, step number 2, get curious. If you notice on my sheet, step 2 was pattern. Okay. So pause, pattern, emotion. Get curious. What are the pattern? What is it, the clues that you're seeing? What's behind the meltdown that you're witnessing? So we all know what it looks like when a kid's flopping on the floor like a fish. Oh, I know it in Target. I'm just picturing that 2-year-old flopping on the floor like a fish in Target. Oh gosh, that is a memory that is just seared into my head. Now, we all know what that tantrum looks like. Get curious. What's going on? What is triggering that tantrum? What's the stress that's being experienced right now? How about for you? What is the stress that you were experiencing as you're witnessing the tantrum, the meltdown? What is the stress that your child is experiencing? Life is made up of patterns. It is everything is patterns. The thing is that we don't see them until we get curious and just stand back just a wee little bit from the chaos and say, what's really going on here? What are the patterns? What's behind this? And here's the one. What are the emotions here? What am I feeling as I'm witnessing my child flopping on the floor like a fish? What is my child experiencing? And just getting curious about it. Because that takes us to the next step. Step 3 is emotion. So we're talking about, getting curious. What are the emotions that are on display? Sometimes really vividly on display. What are the emotions? Start with just naming it. Maybe even starting by just noticing it. Okay, there's a whole lot of emotions kind of erupting right now. It's not bad behavior. It's emotions that just don't know where to go. What are those emotions? Now, if you notice when I was showing my all feelings are welcome wheel, oh, I have so much fun with these. And yes, of course, I've got a big one in the back that I take out to my events. I have a lot of fun with playing with emotions. And I don't use the word fun lightly because it is something where I play in order to be able to explore and experiment and to be a little bit more comfortable with emotions. They're not so big and hairy, scary when we're doing a big old, oh, let me get this right. Oh, yeah. I love that sound. When I make it a fidget spinner, it's not so scary. And we can start naming our emotions. Language is so very powerful because it helps us get a better understanding of what's going on, getting meaning of our world and our experience. And that's why naming emotions is so very critical. Feelings are not problems. And I'm going to use the words feelings and emotions pretty interchangeably here. We can geek out another time about the difference between the two. But let's just say that those feelings, those emotions aren't problems. They're messages. They help us know what's needed, kind of give us an idea of what's going on. Are my needs being met or are they unmet? Oh, hold on a minute. How are they unmet? And naming diffuses the mystery of what it is that we're feeling. And along with the pause, it also gives us a moment of not pushing away or trying to stop the feeling, but just being there with it. It's kind of like when someone comes up to your door, you're like, yo, John, you're not pushing away. You're just welcoming. You're just kind of saying, hey, I see you. There you go. Just naming it. So at Family in Focus, we talk openly about emotions. Again, playing with them, not poking fun, but exploring in ways to experiment and become more familiar with them. Because, well, familiarity makes us feel more comfortable, and comfort and practice build confidence. Yeah. Being in that space where you start to feel some comfort, maybe even some safety, where you can keep on playing and practicing and you can build confidence. You know how you go and you practice, hoops in a quiet little spot before you go out and perform? You've been shooting hoops for a while, building that practice in a place where you're like, all right, I got this. I feel comfortable with this. I've gotten my reps. And then you have the confidence to take it in other places. It's the same thing with what we do in community or even individually, kind of building those reps with emotions, naming, identifying the needs, and actually feeling emotions so that we can take that and apply it in other places. And as we keep practicing, we learn how to truly feel emotions and to learn that emotions, they tell us everything about what's actually going on behind behaviors, behind behaviors. So there's no shame, there's no fixing. It's curiosity and connection to what's actually going on. And that is something about really what's been missing. What's been missing? So, SEL, our kids are learning so much about social emotional learning in schools. It is fabulous. And yet, this is not just something that's reserved for the classroom. Let me look at it from how it has been done wrong, including by me. In my, gosh, what am I at now? 24 years as a general pediatrician. Over that time, I've found that prescriptions, prescriptions for portions, for exercise, for telling people what it is that they need to do outside of the office, they all just fell flat. I'm like, I know what to do here. I know all the guidance, how to raise, feed, and grow a healthy family. And then families would come back and they're like, hey, doc, we're failing here. Nobody wants to sweat. I don't like to sweat. And now I'm supposed to get my kid to go out and sweat for 45 minutes a day. Nobody wants to eat broccoli. And we're finding, candy wrappers underneath the bed. Yeah, kind of sounds familiar. Oh, well, it sure was for me because I was like, yeah, me too. I have the exact same experience. And that's when I recognize that no, we are not failing. It's that our current approach is failing. We aren't understanding the emotions that are really behind the scenes, like why it is that we do what we do, our current habits, let alone how it is that we actually change our habits. We can't just go in and say, we're going to switch that out. You know what? Instead of eating pizza, you're going to eat broccoli. There's going to be emotions going on there. Let's understand them. Social emotional learning, that SEL, is the missing ingredient in most family health advice. It's it's not a new meal plan. It's not a new chore chart that's missing. It's actually emotions and understanding them. And here's the irony: the emotions are there. It's just that we don't know what to do with them. We think that there's something wrong with us because they're there. We think that there's something wrong with our kids because they're sure letting us know about their emotions. Social emotional learning is about the ability to notice, and understand, and work with our internal world. We've just been so busy trying to fix behaviors that we've skipped teaching the skills behind them. Medical models, they give diagnoses and plans, but families need skills and support. And this is really, truly how we stop parenting from this place of fear and really start leading with confidence, because we're leaning into what is it that we want more of. How can we start building those reps, that practice behind the scenes, and then it grows and grows. So that's where I start looking at, well, what if this were, here we go, what if this were the norm? So, what is the possibility? Imagine if your child could say, I'm sad, instead of just, melting down or eating for comfort. Or if they could tell you that they're worried, and that's why they're not eating right now. Maybe telling you that they're really kind of sad about what someone said to them about their body. And they're wondering if it needs to change so that they'll be more accepted, so that they'll be seeing themselves and seen by others as being healthy or ideal or belonging. These are the concerns that are behind the scenes. So imagine if you could pause and notice what's going on before reacting. So notice your frustration before snapping. Imagine if health wasn't about control, but about connection and building relationships. Building relationships. This isn't just about preventing what it is that we don't want. So, again, like not just about trying to prevent disordered eating, trying to prevent weight based diagnoses. It's about creating what we do want: confidence, calm, connected families who grow together. Just note to everyone, okay, kids are meant to grow. We are all meant to grow. How do we foster that growth? So many ridiculous messages right now about trying to stop kids' growth. No, we want to grow and we want to grow together. And this is the shift that we're making. Yeah. And so, I mean, that's part of why, oh my gosh. So, with Family in Focus, I have brought growth right into my program, right into my program. And this is why I created Feel, Connect, Grow. It is a VIP experience for parents who want real tools, real support, and a new way to raise healthy families. We meet you where you are, busy and overwhelmed. I get it, on your schedule, your time, but, ready for something that actually works. You want something that works. And you're going to learn the exact skills that we talked about today, plus how to bring your kids along without power struggles, meaning how to be able to bring them into the circle of naming and identifying what are these emotions, what's going on, kind of becoming friends with them, welcoming them, kind of like, that person knocking at the door. Oh, hey, there you are. Disappointment. I know you. I knew you. Yeah. Learning how to be able to do that and model it for ourselves, or excuse me, to do it for ourselves and then model it for our kids. And so that's what I'd like to invite you to do, as we're really creating the changes that we want to see for our family. And it starts with us. The most powerful, powerful thing in the whole of a family is a parent who is there to help children navigate all the fun, all the fun of growing up. That one I did use fun and jest. But anyway, it's something where, when we have the tools to be able to, regulate our own emotions, but just to feel like I got this, no matter what is going on with our kids, because their job is to totally be on the roller coaster. So let's talk about what it is that you get when we work together in Family in Focus, Feel, Connect, Grow. It's 6 months of VIP support. You are a VIP because you are getting both individual and community support, where you will find that you are not alone. We are building the village of parents who want to be the change for ourselves and for our children. We want to experience that change. You also get access to the Family in Focus signature course. This is where it all began, with 8 core lessons about, why is it that we eat the way that we do? Why are we always looking for food in the first place? What's the deal with hunger? What do I do when I have one child who's growing on one side of the growth curve and another child who's growing on another, side of the growth curve? How do I do that? What are relationships about? What about body image? These are all a core or a part of the core course that you get to take and follow along in your own time. And then, before I get there, so that's all in the vault. So you have full access to the vault as well as additional calls. So in community, additional courses, mini courses on emotions. I also bring in improv. I'm an improv comedian. And so I use improv in a lot of my teachings as well, including having additional workshops specifically on that, including my improv for health course that will be included. And it's something that we then get to take all of this and apply it to your unique life. And that starts off with a 90-minute deep dive call. It's just you and me, where I get to know you about your family, your struggles, also what's working in your family, because that's where we're going to build from. And then we're going to outline a plan for our time together over the next 6 months. And then after that deep dive call, over the next 6 months, you have 6 private sessions where we will uncover exactly what it is that is working for you right here, right now. What is it that's coming up along the way? Those obstacles that you're like, hey, things are cruising around and something comes up. All right, let's address that right here in real time and apply the tools that we're going to be learning throughout the course. Apply them to your unique life, your family. And this is really another part that's really unique. So, in the first session, that deep dive, we're going to be talking about what is the role of different members of your family participating in the program with you. And you are able to share those private sessions with other family members. And so if you're like, hey, I'd really like to bring my partner in here. All right, cool. You can let your partner use one of those sessions. If you have an adolescent who's willing and able, we do not do anything where where we're making anyone you must participate. No. But if they would like to be a part of the conversation, you can gift one of those sessions to them as well. So no one else has to do that, because honestly, at the heart, you are creating change at home through the work that you are doing. Just happens to be something that we can share the love. And then twice per month, we have community calls that are a combination of accountability, question, and I don't know that I want to say question answer, but question and application, like applying to your life. And these are adult only coaching sessions. They're going to be on Wednesdays. And we highlight a topic at the beginning of the day to just kind of touch on, see what's coming up for you. And then we open it up to whatever it is that's on your mind. This is VIP because it's all going to be very small, intimate groups. We are starting this off and it's going to be growing over time. However, you're coming in at the ground floor right now where it's going to be intimate. It is going to be really intimate. You have regular touch points, whether it is in that community group or with your own private sessions. 6 months from when you sign up. Now, we're going to start the group sessions on July 2nd. If you sign up before then, you actually get to start earlier. Okay. So I welcome you to join in and we'll just hit the ground running right away. So I'm not going to go through that whole thing where like, this is how much this is worth and this is how much this is worth. So this is going to be an opportunity where it's going to be $4,300 in order to be able to participate over the 6-month period. I got to tell you right now, I want to welcome those parents that are like, this is for me, I'm in. And I want to make this just a slam dunk. And so for the first 10 people to sign up, the price is $2,457. Don't ask. $2,457. That is pricing that's good through July 1st or the first 10 people. So I'm going to put the checkout in the chat box here. There you go. So that is where you can get all of the information about what is in the program. And you will notice that the discount code is right on there. If you're catching this after the fact, okay, I will have it on the replay page with the link as well as that code to make sure that it is active for you to be able to get the discount pricing that is available. I also just put in for a chat box with me, or whatever you call it, for an appointment to chat directly with me. There's a lot of emotions that come up when we start talking about our family's health, about investing in ourselves and in our children. And we start thinking about, okay, is this for me? What is possible here? And again, please, all feelings are welcome. Bring them. Let's connect and let's talk about how does this align with what it is that you're seeing in your family right now? How is this with Family in Focus and Feel, Connect, Grow? How is this an opportunity for your family right now to be able to get past those struggles, to really understand them and to find a new way forward? I'm going to give you a hint. There's going to be some emotions involved. Because again, emotions drive behavior. Everything that we're doing, it's because of an emotion. So as we're thinking about this, this is the story. This is where the story is changing. This is where the story changes. You've made it here. You've stayed in the conversation, and that already tells me you're like, yeah, I'm doing the work. I'm ready to continue with the work. And so let me know, like, what is it that's coming up for you? What's landing for you? Where is it that you're like, this is a question that I have? Or this is something that my heart just feels is really the next step for me. I welcome your input. And when you're ready for more, you can join Feel, Connect, Grow. You can do it today. So I'm going to stop the replay here and take some comments that I see they're coming up along the way. But just going to highlight, the replay is going to be sent out, but you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. This is your story. This is your family. This is your time. And we can really change this story. You can do it. And I am here to support and to help all along the way because we are in this together. So, all right, my friends, I will send that out to you. And if you have any additional questions here, I'll just hang out for a few minutes. All right.